In an exclusive story, News 24's Amanda Khoza is reporting that AmaZulu King Misuzulu has written to President Cyril Ramaphosa requesting intervention in his reduced security detail. The king is said to be concerned about his safety after his presidential protection services was cut from 12 to 5 protectors. News 24 is also reporting that the king has spoken to the police minister about the matter. But let's bring in cultural expert, Professor Musa Xulu. It's great to talk to you, Prof. Thanks very much indeed for coming on. I just want to clarify, the king obviously has protection and is entitled to protection from the South African Police Service's Royal Protection Unit. But is he entitled to the Presidential Protective Services?
Good day, Michelle, and good day to your viewers. No, I think there's a little bit of confusion here, and it comes from something called Zulu exceptionalism. There are 7 kings here in South Africa, and they're entitled to similar treatment by government. And this presidential protection was first mooted by the late Prince Mangosuthu in 2023. But then, of course, it was always borne in mind that doing that would be breaking the law in terms of presidential protection protocols. But the reason why he says now he wants more protection, I think there has been just too many things happening around his life. He cites the issue of Ingonyama Trust, where even Parliament has ruled that he was not entitled to remove the board. And I don't think anybody in that Ingonyama Trust would be wanting to assassinate him. Those are very sophisticated people, highly educated professionals who understand the work of boards. And then, of course, he cites the issue of Itala. Itala was started by the apartheid government in 1959 as BIC, and those BICs were in all homeland governments. And it became KFC and later became Itala. I don't know why people will then, instead of empowering the current generation of Zulu business people to be able to start their own bank, would want to even claim to want to save an apartheid institution, which obviously, according to the Reserve Bank, is not doing well in terms of financial management. And then he has all the other issues within the royal family, but also expelling people like he has been doing during December and so on. At some stage, he's bound to be afraid of maybe what can happen to him. But I don't think that, I can't believe that anybody wants to assassinate the king. The king needs to have a clear program of action in terms of how he wants to run and rule the Zulu people, and not dismantle things that are already here and then things that he's doing quite well. I don't think that he's doing well in terms of the expectations of the people.
Yeah, the king has made headlines, Prof, over the months and years perhaps as well, in light of his personal challenges, his divorce proceedings. You've already mentioned some of the public disputes, the Ingonyama Trust. Would you say that the king does not enjoy wholesale support from the Zulu nation?
Well, Michelle, if you go back to when it started in 2021, late 2022, the support was overwhelming. And people were very excited. We even started a group here calling itself Indonza ISCs, just to support him. And many people were coming to us and saying, listen, this is now some kind of renaissance for the Zulu kingdom. I don't know what went wrong, but I can point out at a few things, like that quarrel with Prince Mangosuthu, which was not resolved until the prince passed on. I think in terms of African culture still needs to be attended to. There must be some kind of cleansing on that front. Then after that, people began to be very, very reluctant about him. And then, of course, started with all the issues of expelling people every day and writing letters overnight, divorce and not divorce, getting married and not getting married. It becomes so confusing. And I think I can say now, even members of the royal family, his own siblings from his mother, they're becoming very reluctant, and maybe they're thinking that it's not what they were expecting judging from how it started in 2022. So that could be right. I think there's not the kind of excitement that was there in the beginning is now currently no longer there.
And why do you think that is, Prof? You know, you talked about perhaps a renaissance. I'm trying to steer clear from the term a new dawn, but let's go with it. A new dawn for the Zulu nation. What went wrong? Because the king is young. He should be bringing new ideas. And this should be really a new moment. It should have been, the past few years should have been a new moment for the Zulu nation.
Well, many people thought so. I'm not sure about being young because he's turning 51 this year. But he is new on the throne and would have learned a lot from his father, who was a very stable king and very cool-minded, and was very welcoming to many people and diversity of ideas, not only here in the country, but also in other kingdoms around the world. He should have learned something from there. Possibly he didn't, and maybe he came with new ideas. Unfortunately, Michelle, one of the worst jobs you can have in the world is to be a king, because of the issues of continuity, tradition, and change, which you have to manage. Because those institutions, like kingship institutions, are very conservative institutions. They don't allow you to come up with innovative ideas overnight, or maybe meet with your friends here and there and think that you will just easily implement those things. That is the reason why people then say maybe we live in urban centers and we look after our children, we pay for school fees and so on. What do we lose if we don't have a king? So maybe just observing from the behavioral issues, as well as from the court cases that are piling up, especially the one about challenging his kingship, I feel he's becoming worried a little bit. I don't know why, because in the beginning he had very good people that were willing to advise him. Now everyone says maybe he does not have good advisors at all, and maybe he's just trying to do it all by himself, and it's a very complex position where he is. He simply can't. I also think that maybe the president of the country, now that you spoke about New Dawn, could be advised to stay a little bit away from the Zulu royal affairs and allow that royal family to sort itself out, because his name keeps coming as if he's part of the Zulu royal family, and he should, give them the equal status as other 6 kings in the country, so that because they worry about that maybe government is too focusing on trying to run the issues of the Zulu royal kingdom, which takes away the powers of the members of the royal family.
So I mean, part of what you're saying, Prof, is that it might not be entirely the king's fault that he hasn't come and brought this new sort of invigorating force into the Zulu nation, but it might be the structures that exist within that have perhaps prevented him from doing that, if that's what he wanted to do coming into the position, coming into the title.
Yes, no, definitely, because you see, what he should have done, and he should have, the first thing that he should have done was to establish the Royal Kingship Council. It's not there. And that council would have been taken from intellectuals, would have been taken from Amakosi and other knowledgeable people who would have helped him to support and knowledge to be able to know when to do what and how to maintain traditions, and how and when to look at change where he wants change, which must always be very slow if you look at how conservative these institutions are. So he does not have that. So he does not have the correct backup. You hear all sorts of stories about business people coming from whatever province and then taking over and so on. And so what I see happening, Amakosi, the traditional leaders of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, have taken many steps back. The Zulu royal family has taken many steps back. And the intellectuals in our society have also taken many steps back. So he will not be able to implement anything if he does not He focuses on the conflicts with the Ngonyama Trust, the Itala Board, Itala Bank, which are apartheid institutions, and all of those things, instead of getting the buy-in of the traditional leaders, the clergy, the intellectuals, as well as members of the royal family.
Certainly. Professor Musa Xulu, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. It's been a pleasure getting your perspective on this story. It's News 24's exclusive report that the AmaZulu king has written to President Cyril Ramaphosa requesting intervention in his reduced security detail.